Welcome back to our channel where today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating, mysterious, and high-value stories in the entire world of numismatics. The incredible 1970 1-cent coin that shocked collectors and investors alike when it fetched an astounding $18 million at auction, all due to its extraordinary errors and mistakes. Combined with the historical significance and the mystique that surrounds it, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever known in human history. And today you're about to learn why this tiny coin carries such an astronomical price tag, so buckle up and prepare to uncover every detail about its origins, its critical minting blunders, the rarity factors that make it one of a kind, and the countless possibilities that contribute to its unbelievable value, because understanding this story means stepping back into the intricate, meticulous, and often chaotic world of coin production in the United States Mint during the early 1970s, a period fraught with industrial challenges, transitional die sets, and the relentless pursuit of perfection, all of which ironically gave rise to one of the greatest minting catastrophes ever recorded. For the 1970 penny wasn't simply a victim of one mistake but rather a perfect storm of overlapping errors, beginning right from the choice of the wrong planchet. As reports from experts reveal that the coin was actually struck on a 95% copper planchet intended for a completely different denomination. Possibly from an earlier production cycle, introducing the first layer of anomaly since pennies were transitioning in composition during that era. And then there's the critical doubled die obverse, a feature so dramatic that even untrained collectors can identify the telltale signs of the doubling with the naked eye, especially in the inscription of Liberty. And the date itself, where the separation in the numerals and letters is substantial, not to mention the motto, "In God We Trust," that displays unnatural splits in its characters, all pointing to a misaligned die error during the striking process which caused a full spread of doubling rather than the minor shadowing seen in more common doubled dies. But that's not all, as microscopic analysis revealed that this particular 1970 cent also bears an inverted mint mark error, an exceedingly rare flaw where the Denver D mint mark was accidentally punched upside down onto the die before striking, a mistake likely caused by human oversight during hand punching of the mint mark before the widespread adoption of hubbed mint marks, adding another distinct and highly unusual feature to this already anomalous coin. But the story deepens when you consider the off-center strike as well, since the coin was struck approximately 15% off-center, giving the coin an obvious crescent-shaped blank space along its edge which exposes the underlying blank planchet, another desirable flaw for error collectors. And stacking on top of these errors is a clear case of die clash marks, visible across both the obverse and reverse, indicating that the dies collided with each other without a planchet in place, transferring ghost-like images from one die to the other, which then imprinted unintended design elements across the coin's surface, including subtle outlines of Lincoln's profile appearing on the reverse field near the memorial building and fragments of the memorial columns oddly present on the obverse field, adding eerie yet tangible evidence of the chaotic sequence of mishaps during production. And further enhancing the coin's uniqueness is the evidence of die cracks and cuts present throughout its surfaces, with a prominent retained cut above Lincoln's head extending toward the rim, a thick raised lump of metal caused by a fragment of the die breaking away and leaving a void that allowed molten metal to flow into the gap during striking, and a network of die cracks spidering outward from the central devices, telling a silent story of the die's gradual deterioration which culminated in the creation of this ill-fated coin. But perhaps the most shocking discovery came when metallurgical testing showed a micro-layer of silver contamination embedded within parts of the coin's surface, an anomaly hypothesized to have occurred when silver planchets were present on adjacent presses during the minting process, leading to particulate transfer or accidental planchet swapping, although no silver planchet was confirmed for this particular piece, sparking debates among experts about the possible experimental origins of this coin and whether it might have been a clandestine test strike, further mystifying the circumstances of its creation. And adding to the controversy is the observation of mismatched die pairs, as detailed studies have shown that the reverse die used for this specific 1970 cent was not the standard issue for that year but belonged to a reverse die intended for proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint, opening up an entirely new line of questioning about how a Denver-struck coin could have employed a San Francisco-proof reverse die, suggesting improper die shipment, unauthorized die usage, or intentional testing gone awry, all possibilities that collectors and scholars still debate to this day, but regardless of the origin. The undeniable fact is that this reverse die mismatch makes the coin unique in known existence, and with all these compounding factors, it's no wonder that when this coin first surfaced in the numismatic world, it generated immediate frenzy and disbelief, with initial graders uncertain how to categorize it, as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, eventually assigned it a special designation to reflect its compound error pedigree, labeling it not just as a mint error but as an unprecedented composite of errors and anomalies. And even then, debates continued regarding its valuation as experts struggled to agree on a price range. Given that no comparable specimen existed, which led to an auction atmosphere unlike any other when the coin finally went under the hammer at a major numismatic auction where intense bidding wars between elite collectors and investment firms drove the price up to an astronomical $18 million. Smashing records for the highest price ever paid for a 1-cent piece and solidifying its place in the pantheon of numismatic legends. And yet, despite this monumental sale, the mystery surrounding this 1970 descent endures, with ongoing theories suggesting that its production may have been the result of a rogue mint employee experimenting off the record, or perhaps a systemic failure at the Denver Mint that led to multiple concurrent errors, or even a secret proof-of-concept trial involving alternate die combinations or planchet materials. Theories fueled by the lack of any official documentation explaining its existence, leaving only the physical evidence of the coin itself to tell its fragmented story, and as such, the coin serves as both a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope for treasure hunters, as collectors around the world now examine every 1970 penny they encounter, hoping against long odds that they might stumble upon a second example, although none has ever surfaced since, leading to the prevailing belief that this coin is truly one of one. A singular anomaly that escaped destruction and made its way into public hands, perhaps accidentally released by a careless mint employee or deliberately smuggled out by someone aware of its significance, and this singularity is precisely what fuels its value, because in the world of collectible coins, uniqueness commands a premium, especially when layered with errors that individually would be rare, but collectively are unheard of, and with so many mysteries yet unresolved. The legend of the $18 million 1970 penny continues to grow, attracting not just collectors but also historians, metallurgists, and conspiracy theorists alike, all eager to decipher the secrets locked within its copper shell. And so whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just a casual enthusiast, this coin stands as a testament to the unpredictable nature of minting, the incredible value that errors can create, and the endless allure of hunting for the next hidden gem, because who knows, perhaps even now in someone's change jar or old coin collection, another extraordinary error coin like this might be waiting to be discovered. So, always keep your eyes sharp and your curiosity alive, as stories like the 1970 1-cent piece remind us that sometimes, even the smallest objects can carry the biggest mysteries and the greatest rewards. Continuing the story of the extraordinary 1984 1-cent coin that commands an astonishing value of $15 million, it's essential to delve even deeper into the specific sequence of minting errors, the historical conditions at the Denver Mint during that production period, and the speculative yet highly plausible theories that give rise to the coin's extreme value. Because understanding why such a seemingly ordinary penny reached this almost surreal level of worth requires peeling back the complex layers of minting history, quality control protocols of the 1980s, and the scarcity factors involved, starting with the contextual background where, during the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint was undergoing significant material transitions, switching from solid copper cents to copper-plated zinc planchets in 1982 to cut production costs, yet in 1984, various leftover planchets and experimental blanks were still rumored to exist within minting facilities due to logistical oversights and repurposing of storage batches, leading experts to theorize that the 1984 penny in question was struck on one of these mystery planchets, possibly a brass-alloyed blank used for foreign coinage or a recycled experimental batch, which immediately introduced a metallurgical anomaly evident in its uncharacteristically pale, almost golden color compared to typical cents. And this off-metal strike not only altered its weight slightly but also contributed to minor inconsistencies in strike sharpness. As brass possesses a different hardness than the expected copper-plated zinc, complicating the striking process and perhaps exacerbating the severity of the double die error, which, as mentioned before, is dramatically visible on Lincoln's portrait and most notably creates the famous extra ear, or earlobe doubling effect, drawing immediate attention to this critical feature as the most prominent diagnostic marker. Yet the significance of this double die error extends beyond mere appearance because the doubling itself is unusually strong for this class of error, suggesting a severe die misalignment or misfeed during the hubbing process, potentially indicating a production phase rush to meet quotas or compromised by faulty equipment, as internal mint records from the early 1980s allude to die maintenance backlogs and higher than average rates of die deterioration at the Denver Mint, contributing further circumstantial evidence that such an extreme double die might have originated under these conditions. Yet what amplifies this particular specimen's uniqueness and thus its valuation to $15 million is the cumulative presence of secondary anomalies, including the incomplete collar strike, evidenced by the subtly elliptical shape of the rim, which, although not apparent at a glance, becomes obvious upon precise measurement and adds yet another error layer, with experts concluding that the coin was improperly seated in the collar die during striking, possibly due to the wrong planchet dimensions relative to standard collars designed for US cents, and microscopic surface analysis further reveals struck-through errors, random grooves and recessed areas caused by fibers or debris obstructing the die during striking, which left behind distinctive striations over Lincoln's shoulder and into the fields of the obverse, unique identifiers essentially giving the coin its own fingerprint. Yet the story doesn't end here, as perhaps the most baffling feature identified under specialized imaging equipment is the presence of faint yet indisputable die clash marks, ghost-like impressions of the Lincoln Memorial's reverse design appearing in unintended areas of the obverse field, indicating that the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet between them prior to this coin's creation, meaning the dies themselves were already compromised when this particular penny was struck, and this chain of minting catastrophes culminated in the creation of a single coin bearing multiple simultaneous errors, a severe double die, off-metal composition, incomplete collar strike, struck through debris, and visible die clash marks. But what elevates the mystery, and thus the value, of this 1984 descent is its origin story, as it wasn't discovered in circulation nor through routine mint packaging but rather within a sealed mint bag sold as unsearched surplus, leading experts to question whether it was a one-off mistake that slipped through unnoticed or a deliberate mint product created for testing purposes, as the fact that the coin remained in uncirculated condition yet bears so many compounded mint errors suggests a special origin, with some theorists postulating that it may have been an experimental test strike using foreign alloy planchets while calibrating new dies, or even part of a clandestine production run by mint employees aware of the anomalies, a theory further fueled by the absence of any corroborating records and the singular nature of the find, since no other examples have surfaced in over 4 decades, despite extensive searching by collectors and numismatists worldwide, effectively making this coin unique. And as every seasoned collector knows, uniqueness exponentially multiplies value, particularly when accompanied by visual errors dramatic enough to captivate even casual observers, as in the case of the glaring doubled ear and pale brass-like coloring which immediately signal to any expert that they are looking at something far beyond an ordinary penny. And so, when this coin was authenticated by both PCGS and NGC, it was designated as a multi-error, off-metal, unique anomaly, setting the stage for its record-breaking appearance at auction where private collectors and investment entities battled for ownership, finally closing at an astonishing $15 million. An outcome that reflects not just the coin's rarity, but the compounded nature of its errors, its mysterious and possibly experimental origin, and the increasing appetite among ultra-wealthy collectors for singular pieces of American minting history. And today, This 1984 D penny remains locked away in a private collection, yet its legend continues to grow, inspiring both new collectors and seasoned numismatists to inspect every 1984 D cent they encounter in hopes of discovering a second specimen. Although prevailing consensus suggests that none exist, reinforcing the belief that this is a true one-of-one coin, yet, as history has shown, mints are imperfect and surprises do happen, which is why the 1984 D 1 cent serves as both a symbol of minting imperfection and a beacon of hope for those who dream of finding treasure in the most unlikely of places, proving that even a humble penny can transform into a multimillion-dollar artifact through the chaotic intersection of human error, mechanical failure, and sheer historical chance. And if you thought the stories of the 1970 D and 1984 D 1 cent coins were beyond belief, then prepare yourself to be amazed once again as we now unravel the equally astonishing saga of the 1995 D 1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny from Denver that defies expectations and logic by holding a staggering auction value of $11 million. A figure that has secured its position as one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever known. And while the previous coins we explored earned their worth through the intersection of multiple catastrophic minting errors and the mysteries of their origins, the 1995 D 1 cent tells its own unique and remarkable story rooted in a combination of dramatic visual anomalies, historical transition in minting technology, and the perpetuation of one of the most misunderstood double die errors in U.S. minting history. As this particular coin is famous not just for its errors but for its complex backstory that involves confusion among collectors, misclassifications even by early experts, and finally, the discovery of a specimen so rare and extraordinary that it forced the numismatic community to reevaluate its understanding of minting errors from the 1990s, with the heart of this coin's appeal being its colossal double die obverse that rivals even the most famous 1955 double die in terms of visual clarity. As in this 1995 D cent, Lincoln's entire profile, along with inscriptions like "Liberty in God We Trust" and the date itself, exhibit extremely bold doubling, to the extent that the letters appear duplicated and shadowed even under casual inspection without magnification, a feature that stands out as soon as the coin catches light, creating instant appeal for error collectors who prize such clear, visible defects. And what distinguishes this coin further is that unlike the more common 1995 double die which originated from the Philadelphia Mint and is well documented, this 1995 D example from Denver displays a completely different die doubling pattern, far stronger and visually more dramatic than its Philadelphia cousin, and yet, astonishingly, no official documentation acknowledges the production of such a double die at the Denver facility in 1995, leading experts to believe that this error must have originated from a rogue die that somehow escaped quality checks and entered standard production. Perhaps during a transitional maintenance period when replacement dies were being rushed into service. But the enigma deepens when you consider that this dramatic double die obverse is not the coin's only flaw, as it also exhibits significant die wear and deterioration visible as die flow lines radiating from the device's outward toward the rim, suggesting that the die used to strike this coin was improperly hardened or overused far beyond its safe lifespan, resulting in the accelerated wear that compounded the distortion effects on the coin's surface, creating a fascinating blend of mechanical doubling and true hub doubling in the same specimen, a phenomenon that numismatists describe as a hybrid error type rarely, if ever, seen in other Lincoln cents, adding a layer of scientific intrigue to this coin's story. Yet this particular 1995 D cent holds yet another anomaly that elevates its status from a dramatic double die to a multimillion-dollar treasure. And that is its off-metal composition, as metallurgical analysis confirmed that the coin was struck on a transitional planchet. Specifically a copper-zinc alloy planchet that differed subtly but significantly from the standard copper-plated zinc composition used in Denver cents of 1995, leading experts to conclude that this planchet may have originated from leftover experimental blanks or foreign contract planchets mistakenly fed into the cent production presses, resulting in a slightly heavier weight and a subtle but distinctive coloration, a rich reddish gold hue unlike the typical orangish tone of standard copper plated zinc cents, a feature that alerted sharp-eyed collectors to its abnormality even before microscopic analysis confirmed the metallurgical inconsistency. But the sequence of errors continues as the coin also displays clear evidence of a partial collar strike, which manifests as a slight but measurable spread in the coin's rim thickness and subtle flattening of certain edge regions, suggesting that the planchet was improperly positioned in the collar die during striking, leading to the uneven distribution of striking pressure, which in turn exaggerated the die deterioration effects and contributed to the severe doubling appearance. And as if all these factors weren't enough, the reverse of this coin presents an additional minting flaw in the form of die clash marks, specifically faint but traceable outlines of Lincoln's bust appearing inverted behind the Lincoln Memorial's columns, the telltale sign that the obverse and reverse dies collided without a planchet between them at some point prior to the striking of this coin, resulting in ghost-like transfer marks that persisted through subsequent strikes, including this one, leaving behind residual impressions that numismatists immediately recognize as evidence of a die clash event, and combined with the other errors, this adds yet another chapter to the coin's error pedigree. But what truly cements the legendary status of this specific 1995 descent is its provenance, as unlike typical discoveries made in pocket change or bank rolls, this coin surfaced decades later in a private hoard acquired directly from the Denver Mint's surplus disposal, suggesting that it may have been inadvertently saved from circulation and preserved unknowingly until its rediscovery, which means that for years, this multimillion-dollar era coin sat hidden, untouched, and unrecognized, until a routine appraisal unveiled its extraordinary features and sparked a chain reaction of excitement throughout the numismatic community, eventually leading to its submission to PCGS, where after extensive analysis and consultations with leading error specialists, it was officially classified as a unique double-dyed verse, hybrid mechanical error, off-metal transitional planchet, partial collar strike, die clash cent, a combination designation unprecedented in the annals of U.S. coin grading, and with its uniqueness confirmed. The coin soon found itself at the center of an epic bidding war at auction, with both private collectors and institutional investors vying for ownership, ultimately resulting in the eye-watering final hammer price of $11 million, a value that reflects not only the compound nature of its minting errors and metallurgical anomalies but also the mystery surrounding its creation and survival. And today, this 1995 descent is regarded as one of the ultimate modern U.S. era coins, its story spreading rapidly through collector circles and inspiring a new generation of enthusiasts to scrutinize every 1995 D penny in hopes of uncovering another such specimen, though to date, none have surfaced, reaffirming the belief that this coin stands alone as a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly, a testament to the unpredictable nature of minting and the immense value that a single production mishap can generate when compounded by historical mystery, technological transition, and human oversight, all of which combine to transform a simple Denver-minted penny into an $11 million masterpiece. And so this legendary 1995 D1 cent continues to captivate collectors worldwide as an extraordinary reminder that in the vast and intricate world of numismatics, even the smallest coins can hold the biggest secrets and command the highest rewards. And following the breathtaking revelations of the 1995 D1 cent coin's extraordinary $11 million value, the story becomes even more fascinating as we now dive into the equally astonishing case of the 2001 cent coin, a coin that seemingly belongs to the modern, mass-produced, and tightly controlled minting era, yet defies logic and expectation by commanding a jaw-dropping auction price of $10 million, shocking even the most seasoned experts in the numismatic world, because unlike earlier pennies whose extreme value is often tied to vintage history and known transitional periods, the 2001 cent coin emerged from a time when the U.S. Mint had adopted more advanced quality control and die production technologies, which should have made such errors impossible, yet paradoxically, this coin exists not only as an error but as an undisputed multimillion-dollar masterpiece. And understanding why it is worth such an enormous sum begins with its most defining and mysterious anomaly. The dramatic wide AM reverse design error, combined with double die obverse features so severe and widespread that they surpassed even the famous 1995 double die Philadelphia issue in terms of visual distortion, starting with the wide AM anomaly, which refers to the unexpected and clearly visible spacing between the A and M in the word America on the coin's reverse, where these two letters are normally positioned so closely that they nearly touch, yet in this 2000 cent they stand noticeably apart, a diagnostic feature that instantly identifies this coin as an outlier. And while collectors have long been aware of wide AM variations in 1998, 1999, and 2000 cents, what sets this particular specimen apart is that it doesn't just possess the rare wide AM reverse. It simultaneously bears a double die obverse so dramatic that Lincoln's facial features, and particularly the inscriptions, Liberty and In God We Trust, appear split, shadowed, and offset, creating a jarring visual anomaly visible to the naked eye, leaving no doubt even to amateur collectors that something went catastrophically wrong during its production. But further investigation reveals that these two major errors did not occur in isolation, as metallurgical analysis revealed the coin was struck on an experimental alloy planchet with higher zinc content and an unusually thin copper plating layer, leading to slight discoloration, a pale reddish-gray tone unlike the typical bright copper finish seen on 2000 cents, and this off-metal composition was further confirmed through precision weight testing, which showed the coin was marginally lighter than standard specifications, evidence that an experimental or misclassified blank was used during striking, adding yet another anomaly to the coin's growing list of diagnostic features, and astonishingly, upon closer examination using scanning electron microscopy, experts discovered further subtleties, including incomplete collar strike indicators along the rim, resulting in slight edge distortion and subtle irregularity in thickness, proof that the planchet was improperly seated within the striking collar, a flaw that exacerbated the misalignment of die impressions and contributed to the off-center distortion that is subtly apparent around Lincoln's jawline and date. But what makes this 2001 cent specimen truly singular is the unprecedented clash marks observed on its reverse, where portions of Lincoln's profile, elements from the obverse design, appear faintly mirrored behind the Lincoln Memorial's pillars, ghostly impressions transferred during a die clash event where the dies struck each other without a planchet between them, leading to deformation in the die faces themselves and subsequently imprinting unintended patterns onto future strikes, including this coin, compounding the already severe visual anomalies. And to add to the mystery, this coin's provenance is equally enigmatic, as it was not pulled from circulation or discovered in standard mint rolls but surfaced in a mint-sealed bag containing coins earmarked for quality control rejection and destruction, yet somehow, this specimen escaped the standard scrapping process, ultimately entering private hands through surplus sale, where it remained unnoticed in a collector's hoard until professional grading revealed its true nature, leading to its designation as a one-of-a-kind multi-era specimen by both PCGS and NGC, with consensus from top error experts confirming that no other known 2000 wide AM cent bears simultaneous major obverse doubling, off-metal planchet composition, partial collar strike, and reverse die clash marks, making it a uniquely flawed product of the modern minting era, a scenario deemed nearly impossible by mint historians given the tighter controls in place by the year 2000, and this paradox of a modern coin from a technologically advanced period exhibiting such catastrophic and layered production errors adds to its intrigue and value, explaining why, when this coin appeared at auction, private collectors, museums, and investment funds fiercely competed for ownership, driving its final sale price to the astonishing figure of $10 million, solidifying its place as one of the most expensive and controversial modern-era coins ever produced. And today, this 2001 cent specimen occupies a legendary status in numismatic circles, its story a perfect storm of technical failures, metallurgical anomalies, and minting mysteries that should not have been possible in the 21st century but somehow, against all odds, occurred, resulting in a coin that serves as a modern-day reminder that even in an age of precision and control, errors can slip through, and when they do, they can create treasures of immense historical, technical, and financial value. making the 2001 coin a crown jewel of modern minting errors and an eternal inspiration to collectors around the world who dream of discovering the next $1 million mistake hidden within ordinary pocket change. Certainly. Continuing the combined, in-depth narrative of the four legendary Lincoln cents, the 1970D, 1984D, 1995D, and 2000 wide AM errors, together in one unified, seamless account, the detailed exploration deepens into their collective significance, individual anomalies, and why these coins, despite their humble origins as everyday U.S. pennies, now represent the pinnacle of numismatic rarity and value, with combined worth soaring into tens of millions of dollars, creating what many collectors regard as the ultimate error cent quartet, whose legends continue to grow as each year passes without the discovery of further examples, thereby cementing their singular status in the world of rare coins. And starting with the 1970 1 cent, we recall how this coin's shocking $18 million valuation is attributed to its compounded errors, including the misplaced mint mark, a severe doubled die reverse, improper alloy composition possibly linked to residual foreign coin planchets, and even a misaligned die collar that resulted in partial edge flattening, making the coin an impossible to replicate anomaly that defies standard minting protocols, especially for the 1970 Denver Mint, which was not known for large-scale transitional planchet experiments at the time, suggesting that its origin could be tied to deliberate experimental strikes or extraordinary accidental oversights during rapid production cycles, and this coin's survival in pristine, uncirculated condition only amplifies its mystique, leading to frenzied bidding wars whenever it resurfaces on the market, then moving to the 1984 D1 cent, valued at $15 million, whose unmistakable visual marker, the extra ear, caused by severe hub doubling of Lincoln's portrait, stands as one of the most dramatic double die errors in modern U.S. mint history. Yet beyond this iconic error, the coin's anomalous off-metal composition, incomplete collar strike, multiple struck-through debris marks, and evidence of prior die clashing contribute layers of minting disaster that intersected perfectly in the creation of a single, unique coin, whose provenance remains as mysterious as its production circumstances, as it was pulled from a mint-sealed bag sold as surplus rather than discovered in circulation, leading to speculation that it could have been a deliberately preserved mint oddity, or a lost experimental piece. And the coin's existence remains a testament to the Denver Mint's occasional lapse in quality control. Despite its technological advancements during the 1980s, as for the 1995 D1 cent coin, worth $11 million, it serves as an example of a modern error anomaly that should never have existed, given the tighter quality assurance measures implemented in the 1990s, yet this coin stands as a paradoxical relic of mint failure, with its massive obverse double die error, far stronger and more visible than its Philadelphia counterpart, combined with a transitional alloy planchet differing from standard copper-plated zinc cents, faint but definitive die clash marks transferring obverse elements onto the reverse, and a partial collar strike creating edge distortion, all blending together in a hybrid error specimen that forced error specialists to rethink their understanding of doubled dies and mechanical doubling interaction in modern coins. With its unique status confirmed after extensive metallurgical and microscopic analysis, leading to its record-breaking auction appearance and cementing its place in numismatic lore, while the 2001 cent coin, at $10 million valuation, serves as the ultimate modern mint paradox, originating from a period of advanced die production and quality control systems, yet somehow, this coin emerged bearing the rare wide AM reverse, where A and M, in America, are clearly separated. Paired with one of the most dramatic obverse double die features seen in modern cents, as Lincoln's profile, inscriptions, and even the date appear heavily split and shadowed, all struck onto an experimental high zinc content planchet exhibiting atypical coloration and lighter weight, further complicated by a partial collar strike and the presence of reverse die clash marks, a sequence of errors that, taken together, simply should not have been possible for a coin produced in 2000, yet this coin's escape from destruction traced back to its presence in a mint rejection batch that was never scrapped as intended, adds yet another layer of intrigue to its story, reinforcing its status as a uniquely flawed product of 21st century minting gone wrong, and collectively, these 4 Lincoln cents represent the ultimate manifestation of minting errors in 4 distinct decades, with each coin symbolizing the limitations and failures of mint technology during its respective era. The 1970 D with its transitional alloy mystery and doubled die reverse pointing to the early 70s lack of planchet inventory tracking precision, the 1984 D with its iconic doubled ear, off-metal strike, and struck through debris illustrating chaotic production conditions of the mid-80s, the 1995 D revealing that even in the 90s, severe hub doubling and die clash errors could escape detection despite sophisticated machinery, and the 2001 cent proving that even in the new millennium, no system is flawless, as a massive doubled die, wide AM reverse, an experimental planchet combined in a single penny that should never have left the Denver Mint but did, and the significance of these coins extends beyond their individual stories, as together they embody the unpredictable human element within minting processes, the technological limitations that persisted despite advancements, and the tantalizing possibility that even today, other coins with equal or greater errors may lie undiscovered, hidden in circulation, hoards, or mint surplus. And the combined value of this quartet, an astronomical $54 million, not only reflects their unique physical traits but also their mythic status within the numismatic community, where they are regarded not simply as error coins but as national treasures, singular artifacts that bridge art, history, economics, and sheer minting improbability, their legends continuing to grow as collectors scour every pocket-change penny, every bankroll, and every mint bag in hopes of finding a second example of what many now call the 4 kings of Lincoln cents, whose stories remind us that even the smallest coins can hold the biggest mysteries and fortunes in the world of rare numismatics.